Welcome, everyone. It's the Crypto Lark. Super excited to have the chance to speak with Alex Mashinsky from Celsius Network, a prominent tech entrepreneur and really just a big name in the space. How's it going, man?
Great, great. Another looking forward for this week. It's a big week for us. A lot of new releases. I'm also doing an AMA tomorrow. So you're getting the scoop. You know, this is my practice run ahead of our YouTube AMA tomorrow.
Excellent, excellent. Well, we've got a lot of great questions to ask for you today, and a big thank you to the community because basically all of the questions, I got one or two of my own thrown in there, but basically all the questions today are from the community. So the community, absolutely awesome. And of course, the Celsius Network community, very, very strong, very enthusiastic about what you guys are doing over at Celsius Network. And just a quick note as well to always do your own research, guys. There's a certain risk to reward to, lending out your crypto or taking loans and all these things. So please understand that. And also, this is not a sponsored video. I'm just super interested in the topic of decentralized lending or lending platforms and all these different things. We're going to be breaking all that down for you in the questions today. Now, the first question comes from a guy named 9volt. We're going to kind of hop off with a softball here. What type of beer do you drink?
So my Stella, Heineken. I'm a simple guy. Nothing nothing special. But those are like my two favorites.
Nice, nice. Simple lagers. Not bad. Not bad.
Yes, simple lager.
All right.
And I get my alcohol tolerance is very low. So two beers is probably the most I can handle.
It's not a bad thing. Not a bad thing at all. It's a little bit's fine. All right, let's hop into the juicier stuff now. Serious time, guys.
Yes.
Serious. So, Otisa 502 asks, so you're a quite famous tech entrepreneur. You've done a lot of very interesting businesses over time. Assumedly, you've probably got a decent amount of cash in the bank. So, why are you doing this? Why are you out here? You could just be relaxing on a beach in Hawaii or something, man. Like, what are you doing?
You sure this question didn't come from my wife? Because she asks me this question every week. She's
Well,
like,
you
"I
have
don't
six kids,
understand."
right, as well?
Yeah, I have six
Where do you
kids.
find the time to do all this stuff?
Well, the weekend belongs to them, so I work very hard during the week, but the weekend is kind of dedicated. My youngest is 4 years old. My oldest is 20. I have two of them in college now, so there's always something, But I don't have an off switch. Like I'm on 24/7. As far as like I don't have a downtime. I don't, I don't like. That's why I don't drink also because I don't like being like mellow and down. I like when my brain is running as fast as it possibly can. And I tried retirement. It was the most miserable time of my life. So. So when my patents expired just in October this year, actually, my VoIP patents, after 25 years, and I really committed to dedicating the next 25 years to DeFi and to basically enabling the next generation to have a financial future. I don't believe that the current systems work for the young people or for the young generation. So part of what we're trying to do is really kind of make sure that our kids and grandkids have the same dream, the same American dream that I got an opportunity to live in and excel in and so on. And I take that very, very seriously. So it's not just it's not a hobby. This is a mission. We're on a mission, and the entire Celsius community, a lot of our users are here because they believe in the mission. They believe in what we're trying to do.
Very, very cool. And you mentioned VoIP, but I've seen you've been using, I think, the hashtag MOIP. So that's with
Yes,
the
VoIP
money
to
over
VoIP.
internet protocol or something like that.
Yes, VoIP to MOIP. So just like voice over IP replaced all the phone companies with a service, a decentralized service that is acting in our best interest. A MOIP, or money over IP, is going to replace the banks with a decentralized platform that is acting in our best interest. And that's really the kind of like, I've seen this movie with VoIP, right, of how we basically went from $2 or $3 a minute to free to how do we get rid of the banks with them making billions of dollars to a system where the network itself is earning money for all of its users.
Nice. I like the vision of how the crypto economy, how decentralization and all this is working to create a better internet moving forward.
Well, I use different words. I call it war. We're at war with centralization, and this is not kumbaya. We all gonna walk out of this great holding hands. Either centralization wins, and we know what that looks like. It looks like giant companies are controlling us.
Mm-hmm.
Facebook is a great example, right? Facebook centralized almost the entire internet. 60% of the entire internet is controlled by one company that is extracting billions of dollars in profit from all of our information. And now they want to also own all of our financial information. So it's up to us, right? Every one of us, every day when you use your credit card, you decide, do you want to empower centralized companies or do you want to empower decentralized companies? For every service that is powered by a bank, there's a service powered by a decentralized company. So it's up to us to decide, all of us, all of your viewers, our followers, every day, are they choosing the decentralized version or the centralized version?
That's right. Companies like Facebook do not plan to go quietly into that good night, do they? Oh, no, no, no.
Yes.
Far from it.
They're not building that blockchain for you or for me. Okay, they're building it for themselves.
Exactly. Now, let's move on to the next one. So this comes from the Count of Monte Crypto. He asks basically about the idea of people who are serial entrepreneurs. They create a lot of startups, and then, after some years, they'll end up selling the company and all that stuff. So his question was, how long are you into Celsius? Are you going to be doing this for until the man in black comes knocking, or are we looking at 5 years? We'll sell it to somebody and then move to Hawaii.
So look, I have a 30-year history, right? A lot of these entrepreneurs, that's their first or second company, and you can't really look at their background and see how much time they've spent on this or on that. So one of the companies I built before Celsius, Transit Wireless, built the wireless in the New York subways. And we started the project right after September 11th when the towers collapsed. I went to the MTA and tried to convince them to put wireless because I thought it was crazy that we didn't have connectivity underground. And we only launched the service 2012. So it took 11 years just to get the service up and going.
That's crazy.
It's the world's largest underground system. So it's not like a little thing. You need permits and you need construction and there's asbestos everywhere and so on. So anyone who thinks that I'm in it for the short term, voice of IP, again, I'm 25 years in it and only 4.5 billion people use it. I still don't understand why the other 3 billion don't use something for free and they insist on paying their phone companies every month. So
come on, other 3 billion people, get on it.
I know. It's like, seriously, you need me to call you and tell you what to do? So it just, sometimes even the most obvious stuff is it needs direction. And my friends joke. They say like, oh, I picked up 2 fights with the phone companies, right? VoIP and the subway, wireless in the subways, just as a warm up to really pick up on the real war with the banks. That's a real. So we're creating an army. We're creating an army. I'm a military guy, so all of my analogies are war and army and weapons. But the point is that we are building an army to win against the banks, and it's going to take millions of us, hundreds of millions of us, to have the scale to replace the banks with the service that acts in our best interest.
Well, money certainly has become weaponized, without a doubt, and probably always has been to some extent, but certainly in the modern era of the internet, we really see that playing out. Now, I want to move on to the next one here. This is from Jamie Jin. She wants to know, basically, what happens to user funds if something happens tomorrow and Celsius goes under, right? So is there an insurance provider in the background that's going to cover those losses? People will still be able to recover their crypto back out?
So yeah, it's a great question. So first, we use BitGo as a custodian. I published on Telegram and on Twitter a letter from BitGo showing that we've transacted over $1 billion worth of crypto with them, and so we keep every account, every wallet they have is insured up to $100 million by Lloyd's Insurance, and we keep obviously no more than $100 million in any account. So as we transact, each account is insured up to the limit. And again, that's against hacking or against kind of any kind of internal BitGo related bad actors, right? So if one of BitGo's employee steals the money because they have access to their systems, and we and all of our community members are protected. The second part of this is when we lend out, right? So we lend out against collateral. So for example, when you take a loan from Celsius, you have to give me $2 worth of Bitcoin for every dollar that I give you out. So I always have more deposits than withdrawals, right? So, or more, I have more on deposit than I lent out in dollars or in other stable coins or things like that. So net, Celsius has more assets than it lends out. That is not true for your bank. Most people think that banks are safe. If banks are safe, why did we have to bail them out in 2008? We wrote an $800 billion check. We, the American people, right, had to write that check because obviously the FDIC and everything else was not enough to save us. So all the people that think banks somehow are safe don't understand how the system works. And so we're trying to create a decentralized system that is acting in your best interest, that has what's called negative leverage, meaning it always has more in assets there in loans. And as you know, most banks have 10, 20, even 30 to 1 leverage. So for every dollar they have in assets, they lend $30 or $50 out to all kind of participants. And when these guys blow up, we have to come and save them. So the point is, we are not a bank. We're not a FDIC insured institution. But the way our system is built is the way we think all institutions should be operating.
I agreed. It's so funny with the FDIC because so many people think, oh, I've got an FDIC insured bank account. And I looked at the numbers, and the FDIC only insures, so there's, I don't remember how much is exactly, but it's about
$250,000. Yeah,
$250,000 per account, but they only cover about 1.5% of all accounts in the U.S. So
yeah.
If a major systemic bank were to go under, the FDIC cannot cover that. They only cover 1.5% of deposits in the U.S. So if a tiny, rural bank goes out that has 2 branches in some county in the middle of nowhere, they got that. If any of the big players go down, they don't got that. Your money's not safe. But people think it is because they just think it's safe.
Exactly. The top 20 U.S. banks are too big to fail, and the FDIC cannot do anything if any of those guys get in trouble. And we saw that with Lehman Brothers. We saw it with a few other institutions where they lost 2% of their assets and they were out of business, right? Because they had 50 to 1 leverage. So we really need to... Again, look, they don't teach us financial education, not in high school, not in college. Sometimes you can work for Wall Street and still not understand how money works, who prints money, where does it go, how money is created. There's a great Ray Dalio video on YouTube. Just Google it, and it's a great system that shows you how the wheels are turning and where money is created. So, get educated. That's the whole point. When you understand how the system works, then you understand why we have recessions, why do we have economic activity, who benefits from it, and you can become a participant instead of being just the guy that everybody takes advantage of.
Yep. I'm always talking about that on the channel. Financial education is so important. You really have to wonder why they don't teach these things in school, but then you kind of realize, well, the system kind of exists because people don't know how broken the system is.
The 1% doesn't want the 99% to know too much about how this stuff works.
That's it. Now, next question comes from Blue Fig. They want to know, will we start to see compound interest being paid on Celsius? And also, we've got a question about, will we see new assets like Link coming anytime in the near future? And a guy named Jeremy Smith also wants to know if we'll see Tron coming at any point in the near future.
All great questions. So, assets, we add assets that yield. We don't, if the asset cannot yield, then there's no point for it to be in the Celsius wallet. You're just better off storing it on your cold storage key or wallet, or keeping it on an exchange. So currently we're working on ways for Tron and for a bunch of other things to yield. Algorand and other ones, obviously all the staking coins are yield by design, But we have in our app, there is a coming soon section that shows you which are the coins that are coming soon. And our community definitely gets to vote. So we do accept suggestions and arguments as to why this one or that one. But the hardest thing for us, if there's no demand for the coin from the borrower community, or there's no yielding opportunities, then it's very difficult for Celsius. We're best of breed, right? What we do is we created this category. No one done this before. And we're yielding more on average, more than anybody else, right? And so for us, unless we can do that, there's no reason for us to add the assets. So currently we have 25 assets in the wallet, and compounding interest is something that we're working on. It's more of a technical issue than we don't want to pay it. And again, the difference between compound and not compounding is pretty small. So it's not like we're trying to not pay the compounding interest. We just want to make sure that with all the promotions and all the other things that we're running, to make sure that the people that also withdrawing interest first, that's another feature that people ask for. So compounding and withdrawing feature for interest first are the two things that are coming next. And we just need to finish the technical side of it.
Nice. Very cool to see those coming along. Obviously, those will be very popular features when they come in. Now, Crypto Move V3 wants to know, what would be the effect on Celsius if we see this kind of, we've seen a lot of talk about, the everything bubble and the stock market's going to crash and all this kind of stuff. If we see a big crash situation happen, what is your kind of plan for that, and how will it affect Celsius?
Well, we just seen that in the last, first when we launched, Bitcoin was 14,000 and it went down to 3,500. And frankly, we thought that we're going to have huge withdrawals because we were like, hey, the market is crazy. I don't blame people for withdrawing coins, but every day we had 1 to 2 million in deposits back then, and we still have 1 to 2 million in deposits. Sometimes I feel like no matter what we do, even if we try to get it to 5 million per day, we can't, because it's just 1 to 2 million per day of deposits. So we did very well in the down market. We did very well in the up market where we went to 20,000. We just in the last few days, right? I mean, Bitcoin was 14,000. It went down as low as 6,800 or whatever the number was yesterday. And we see no withdrawals. I mean, on average, our average depositor is giving us 9 deposits. So they give us a small amount, then they give us more and more. So what we created is a hodler community, right? I mean, that's why all of our shirts remind people who we are, right? We're not the speculator community. We're not the trader community. We're not the anarchist community. We're just the hodler community. So the people who are long-term believers whose job, whose mantra is to accumulate coins. And we provide the safest and most transparent way for these people to do that. That's really what this community was built on. I think we're doing a better job for the community. We've paid more Bitcoin, more Ethereum than all the other guys put together.
Wow.
So that's how we measure our success or our accountability is measured by how well are we performing for the community.
Nice. Now, Jay Crypto Minded wants to know, so we've had billions of dollars in loans going out. So who's on the other end of the loans? When people are lending their crypto out, who's on the other end?
Sure, it's a great question. So in a traditional bank or lending club, right, usually it's the rich people lending to the poor people, right? So it will be hedge funds lending to a retail guy who needs a loan for his car or needs a loan for a business, or needs to pay down his credit card. We do exactly the opposite. So we collect, right now we have about 57,000 users that did KYC. So they gave us just over $400 million in deposits. And we lend these assets to hedge funds and exchanges that need this liquidity. So like, for example, last night, Sunday was a very active day. Obviously the markets were going crazy and people meaning either hedge funds or exchanges did not have enough asset to either borrow or lend to their customers, and they borrowed everything. We had almost every coin deployed last night, right? And the rates spiked as well. So if you knew what you were doing and you had relationship with this or that exchange or this or that hedge fund, you could have charged people 16, 18% for your coins, right? But only for a few days. Right, so no matter what the rate is, we basically aggregate that, we average it over the week, and we pay out whatever the 80% of whatever we collected. So the lenders are all retail hodlers, right? These are people like you and me who basically have a lot of coins. I don't plan to sell any of my Bitcoin anytime soon. So I want to charge rent for it from people who do market making. They do arbitrage, they do hedging, they do future versus spot. They do all these different crazy things that people on Wall Street do. But they only do that if they give us collateral. Then we lend them the coins, right? So we offload the risk to them of their transaction. They return the coin, we return the collateral, and we charge them rent. Our job is just, we don't take directional bets. We don't bet against Bitcoin or for Bitcoin, prices going down or prices going up. All we're doing is charging a fee, charging interest for the duration of time that somebody borrowed Ethereum or Bitcoin or any of the 25 assets we hold.
Nice. It's really cool to hear that answer, because I think so many people out there go, well, why would these exchanges need to borrow cryptos? And actually, this is kind of a bit of the next question from Rodrigo, and you can kind of share a bit more of your thoughts. And I think you did a pretty well job of addressing this already, but really that, why do exchanges need to borrow cryptocurrencies at all? What do they not have enough? Are they having liquidity problems? Is there some fractional reserve stuff going on at the exchanges? So can you speak a little bit on that as well?
Sure. Let's take two examples. So this most simple example is you are a Binance customer. You have one Bitcoin on Binance and you want to buy a second Bitcoin. So you have to borrow dollars from someone, right, to go on margin. So who provides that margin for you? You think that Binance provides that margin, but in reality, Binance works with many, many institutions. One of them is Celsius, for example, to borrow these assets, right, to borrow the dollars so you could buy a second Bitcoin. Mm-hmm. Binance holds your first Bitcoin as collateral. So if you, for any reason, Bitcoin goes against you, right, they liquidate the asset and they return the dollars to us as a lender, and plus the interest, and we're happy. So our counterparty is, and the borrower is not the retail user, but actually Binance or Bitfinex or any of these exchanges that we operate with. We also borrow assets for them. So for example, we would borrow USDT from Bitfinex, or we would borrow BUSD from Binance, and so on. So this way, the amount that we give them and the amount that we borrow usually are balanced out, so we have zero risk. So even if they go out of business or they don't know what they're doing or somebody hacks them, our exposure is the net between what we borrow and what we lend out. So that's one scenario. The other scenario is you want to go short, meaning you think Bitcoin is going down, you want to borrow Bitcoin and sell it, right? And then buy it at a lower price. You need to borrow that Bitcoin from someone. Who's going to lend you Bitcoin, right, to do that? So again, Celsius in this case, on behalf of the community, we have an omnibus of BTC. We have about 25,000 BTC on deposit, and we lend to all these people electronically. We do hundreds of thousands of these trades. Again, a total of 4.25 billion of these transactions where we would lend, allow you to, for example, sell it at 7,000 and buy it back at 6,800, make that spread, you pass a little bit of interest, and we return the Bitcoin to the person who lent it to you. The person who lent it to you, the hodler, all he wants is just the interest. He's in it for the next 10 years. He's not interested in buying and selling and doing all the other stuff. So there's always two sides. There's always somebody who's long, somebody who's short, or somebody who wants to go on leverage and somebody who's willing to lend. Our job is to enable the transaction, extract the toll. And normally, I will tell you a secret, Wall Street does this all day long. Wall Street, the big firms on Wall Street get to keep 100% of these profits. When you have a retirement account and you own Apple and Google, guess what happens to all those shares? They're being lent out by your custodian, by your 401k operator, by Fidelity, by all these companies. I can sit here all day and tell you their names. How can they afford to give you $0 trades? That's where they make all their money. It's called SEC lending. So what Celsius created is exactly what SEC or security lending looks like, but we are doing it with coins. But unlike the other guys that keep 100% of the profit to themselves, I'm the largest shareholder in Celsius. I decided to give 80% of it to the community. Why? That's what everybody wants to know. Alex, you could have made so much money. Why are you giving it to the average Joe? And my point is that the financial system, if we want crypto to become the next financial system, we have to give our users something that they all want. And every one of the 7.5 billion people on this planet wants to earn yield, wants to earn money on their money. And if we can just create that, then we can bring 7 billion people to use the service. If we don't do that, then none of these people will join us. If we do the same, if all we did with crypto is recreate Wall Street and we created a bunch of new toll collectors that are replacing the Wall Street toll collectors, I guarantee you no one's going to show up. They already know that the thieves there and the thieves here are the same, you know? So no, it's true.
It's, you know, you're making an amazing point. I laugh because I think about this stuff all the time. How we're right now with crypto, we're recreating in a lot of ways, in a lot of situations, the absolute worst of what Wall Street does, and
we don't have to.
And we don't have to. We don't have to. We can make different decisions.
Exactly.
You know?
So when I call out these people on Twitter or whatever, people send me hate tweets and they call me names and whatever. And I'm like, tell me something I said that is not 100% true. You know, so let's call this, you know, what it is. All right. And the point is that the promise of decentralization, the promise of cryptocurrencies is to build the opposite, not to build the same, but to build the opposite, and to act in the best interest of the community. And the amazing thing is that you can do good and do well at the same time. And that's what people don't understand. They think you have to choose. You have to choose. The only way to make money is if you steal from other people.
You got to step on everyone else's neck.
Exactly. So you look at my career, my entire career, every company I created was doing good and doing well at the same time.
There you go. It's create a virtuous cycle instead of that vicious, you know, cycle that's parasitic and it's all the worst, right?
And some of the most successful companies in the world, Amazon and Costco and WhatsApp, all these companies, they do amazing job for their customers, not for their shareholders. Their customers come first. And that's what we have to do here in this community. We have to create services that put the customer, the depositor, first.
The next question I have for you here is from Taib El Husni. He asks why there's not more support for Celsius in, for example, African countries, in particular from him, but in other countries as well. So when will we see more of a global rollout for access to Celsius for people all around the world?
It's a great question. Look, the main problem is languages. Our website, our app are only in English. And for a lot of people, it's still not their main language. Most of the people in the world don't speak English, and we need to get on it. I mean, I know we're launching Spanish soon, and we're going to be launching a few other languages. But it just again, we have a small team. It's only 65 people, and again, we wanted to make sure we delivered enough coins, enough services, and kind of make sure everything works right, and then kind of deploy for the rest of the world. Also, and this was a plan from the beginning, right? We want to use kind of like the rich or the bigger depositors to subsidize or pay for the small depositors. So right now, like I said, the 57,000 people that use us, on average, each account is about $20,000, and they are allowing us to basically subsidize the services in the new countries where we're going to be launching this. So a person with even $10 can open an account and have a wallet and transact and earn interest and join the middle class, because if we did it the other way around, we wouldn't be able to afford to bring in all of these smaller depositors.
Mm-hmm. Very cool. So the next one I got here for you is probably, I'm going to ask from the crypto bum here, but actually this is a question that I saw come up quite a few times was, when are we going to see new exchanges where you can actually go out and buy the Cell token? And also, when can U.S. residents take advantage of earning in Cell?
So U.S. residents can earn 4% right now, Cell on Cell. And you cannot only earn in kind in the United States. These are just the rules. So I can't change the laws, but you can earn sell on sell if you believe in sell token. You can buy it and hodl it and have a yield on that. And we are, all the people outside the United States can earn in sell, so it's a higher rate. And we are planning to add a bunch of exchanges. Again, we are taking our time. We're actually integrating with a bunch of exchanges. So the Celsius service will be available on multiple exchanges coming forward. So if you are using those wallets or exchanges, you'll be able to basically just turn on a button and start earning inside your exchange. You won't have to move the money to Celsius. It will be basically earning interest inside the exchanges or inside the wallets that we're integrating with.
Which is very, very cool. Now, I know you've already integrated with, I think, is it the Monarch wallet? That's one you're already
Monarch,
integrated with, yep.
Voyager. So there's a bunch of wallets, about half a dozen wallets that are already up and running. And now we're adding a few other bigger ones, including bigger exchanges that are going to be adding these services for the first time.
Nice. The next one here is from Yannick Legendra. They ask, can we select in which crypto we are going to be paid out in? So if somebody wants to, for example, lend out their Ethereum, but then get paid back in Bitcoin, will that be an option in the near future?
So currently you can pick for each coin as outside the United States, you can pick if you want to be paid in kind or in sell. But you can borrow any coins against any coin. So you can basically come in, deposit Ethereum, and borrow USDT against it, or borrow Bitcoin against it. So that's already available in 4.0. That's a new version that we released just 2 or 3 weeks ago. And we're planning to enable any-to-any very soon. So again, if you think about the DeFi movement that is out there today, where they basically enable you to do a little bit with pretty low LTVs. We're planning to do that at much higher LTVs, and we're already paying higher rates. So we charge less on the interest and we pay more than most of the other DeFi platform, meaning the gap between the bid and the ask for us is only 20%. In most platforms, it's about 50%, right? So like Compound and other ones. So the idea is that if banks keep most of what they make on your money, DeFi platforms should not be keeping most of what they make from your money. They should be giving most of that back to the depositor. And that's what all of us are trying to do. And I think the race between all the DeFi companies is going to be who gives most back to the community. That is the ultimate, which is it's the best thing for all of us, right? That's what we want. We want competition in which the winner is the depositor, the coin holder, not the guy that managed to charge the most tolls, which is what the banking system is today. JP Morgan does the best job of charging you fees, and they make $30 billion a year in profit. And we celebrate them. We go, wow, Jamie Dimon, he's such an amazing manager. Look at him. He extracted $30 billion out of most Americans, and he gave it all to his shareholders. Yay, let's put him on a pedestal.
He's really good at screwing people, that guy.
Exactly. But think about it. Like the 4 largest banks in the United States charged the poorest Americans $34 billion last year for overdraft fees. So banks are like a vacuum cleaner. They suck money out of the poor and they deliver it to the richest people in America, right? And we celebrate.
Perfect analogy. That's crazy.
We celebrate that. So I'm mad as hell, and I'm not going to take this anymore.
Yes. I love it. That's the exact kind of energy we need from somebody leading a cryptocurrency company. This is amazing. Wall Street's been put on notice.
Exactly, and I don't need a job with any of these banks. I can every day I say bad things about banks. Every day.
Me too. Welcome to the Crypto Lark channel. Yes. Okay, well, let's move on to the next one here. So this comes from DJ Blind Faith. He wants to know, when are you going to be able to buy Celsius tokens in the app? And when are you going to be able to buy other cryptocurrencies as well, and maybe even exchange between them within the app?
Next release. It's coming before the end of the year. You'll be able to do all those things. Maybe the sell token inside the app will take a little bit longer. but you will be able to buy a lot of these assets. And guess what? We're charging zero fees on all of those things. We're going to
Nice.
absorb all the fees to deliver, because again, if you're delivering a service, like a lot of these guys that charges 5% in fees, how is that's the amount of interest we pay the entire year? Like it takes an entire year to earn that. So we got to find a way to, again, to allow young and people to leave the banks, to unbank themselves and come and join this revolution, and not charge them, not kill them with fees. So the magic, and that's why it took us so long, was to figure out how to do this without charging fees, without making it painful for the first time depositor, for the guys who are just joining the crypto revolution, right? How do you bring them in with zero friction and make the experience amazing experience? And that's what Celsius is all about. I think most of our users today, they can't believe it, right? We took the worst day of the week, Monday, and we made it the best day of the week. Every Monday morning, we pay interest first thing in the morning. And you don't have to do anything. You don't have to move from the checking account to the savings account. You don't have to jump through hoops. You don't have to do anything. So we want to do exactly the same experience on purchasing crypto, and exactly the same experience on, again, transacting between fiat or between your dollars and your crypto wallet.
I think that's where it's really going to come in for, bringing millions more people on board. That's the important thing. How do we get the next wave of people actually coming in? And it's got to be easy. We might, play around with getting our ledger out and going, playing all this stuff, but a lot of people want a much easier experience. They want a banking website like experience. But if you have somewhere you can go and take your card out, buy some whatever, some stable coins, some Bitcoin, you can lend both them out. The whole process is done in just a few minutes. Then we start talking about, wow, now we're bringing in millions of people, and that's what's exciting. That's what we need, is this user-friendly experience for people, and an incentivized user-friendly experience where you can say, hey, you can invest in this, you can start earning interest on this, and you can just totally remove these parasitic banks from the equation.
Yes. I mean, the whole generation forgot or never knew that your money could work for you. All we know is that we have to work for our money. And we have to work really hard for our money. And here we come and say, no, you don't understand. Your wallet can work for you 24/7 and generate income for you. And eventually you have enough money in there, you don't have to work anymore. That's what the plan is, right? And we just need to convince people that this is a viable, scalable plan. And again, we need to do it for hundreds of millions of people, like you said.
Now, the final question I have here for you is from Hami Ora, and this is actually kind of an idea what he on a minute ago as well. And this is, why should people choose to deposit their crypto with Celsius Network over a competitor who might offer a higher interest rate at this time? And I know, there's a very excited community about Celsius Network, so if the rates aren't too different, people will probably just stay with you just because they're very enthusiastic about Celsius and, you're a great front man for the company and all these things. But if somebody else is offering a higher percentage, why shouldn't they go over there?
Sure. So a lot of these other companies do not disclose, are not willing to disclose how they make their money. And the problem is that many of them don't make the money. They just have a promotional rate that sucks you in, that brings you into because they want you to participate or open an account, and then they sell you a credit card or they sell you a loan, or they make money from it, but they just give you a teaser rate that doesn't really mean anything. So, and again, they don't give that income to what we do is when you pay me interest for my loan, if you took $1 loan from me, I take 80% of that and give it to your neighbor in the form of more Bitcoin. No one else does that, right? Like if you look at Nexo, if you look at some of the other guys out there, Cred or Crypto.com, none of these people actually give that money to the depositors, right? That's not their business. So our entire business is to make sure that we take from the people who borrowed and we buy Bitcoin with it. We buy Bitcoin, Ethereum, XRP. We're always in the markets buying coins, right? We're supporting the community. While everybody else, like Binance, for example, extracted $1 billion in profit out of the community, right? Coinbase, $2 billion in profit since 2014, coming out of the community. It went all to their shareholders. So, like I said in the beginning of the interview, right? You have to choose. Are you supporting the community? Do you want to do stuff that helps other people, helps hodlers, helps crypto users? Or do you want to enable the toll collectors to make more money? So Celsius is here only for one purpose, right? And we've done, again, we paid more Bitcoin, more Ethereum than all the other guys put together. None of the other people today, not one of them, has been willing to come up and state publicly how they make their money. We answer every question. We explain very easily because we have 150 institutions working with us. Go find an institution that works with any of the other guys. Just find them. Just say, hey, I found one company that is working with crypto.com, that is borrowing coins from them. So I don't want to pick on this guy or that guy. All I'm saying is that, again, we're also externally audited. If you go to, for example, Celsius.com, there's a website that is reading all the different blockchains, extracting the data and put amazing charts to validate or not validate what we're doing. So I think we're fully transparent. So you know this money that we're paying is actually money we earn. And if it's not, then usually it's a Ponzi scheme. So you have to be very careful who you're giving your money to.
Very, very cool stuff. Well, we're going to wrap it up there. We didn't have a chance to get to all the questions, but thanks to everyone in the community for, asking some really great questions, and thank you for participating in those, over on Twitter and over on YouTube and asking the questions. So really appreciate that. And Alex, thank you so much for your time to sit down and go through some of those questions from the community and really explain what you guys are doing over at Celsius. Very exciting vision. And for anybody who wants more information about it, check down below. I'll leave some links in the description of this video where you can go and check the service out.
Last call to action. So again, the most important thing out of this entire conversation is that every viewer of yours goes out and brings 5 or 10 of your friends into crypto. Because if you don't bring newbies, if you don't educate them, if you don't convince them that this is the future and this future is for them, this is not for me. Like you said, I already made all my money. I tried retirement. I'm doing this for all of you guys, right? So I need help because we're not going to do it. Just me talking is not going to get us anywhere, right? We need to go and convince people who are doubters or fudder or people who don't believe anything we're talking about here, that the future is a decentralized platform that acts in your best interest. So go ahead, spend some time. I go on the streets every day, talk to strangers and convince them, introduce them to Bitcoin.
There you go. There you go. That's next level. That's next level stuff right there, guys. Go and tell a friend about crypto. I know a lot of you guys are already out there evangelizing, so Go out of your way. So be that guy who just walks down and sits next to someone on the bus. Hey, you heard about Bitcoin yet?
Yes.
Awesome. Thank you so much for the time. It was a really great interview. So thank you so much.
Thanks for having us.